Sir, some few questions for the day.
Okay.
What do you know about the history of a school IJHS and which year did you join?
Actually, I know I was there in Infant Jesus in two phases. I was there as a student and I was there as a teacher. I joined Infant Jesus, I think, way back in 1960. And then as a student, and I was there till 1966. And I did my ICSE and ISC. Not ICSE exactly, it was Madras Anglo-Indian High School examination, and there was ISC. But then my marks for the ISC was not too good, so I had to go with my Anglo-Indian school marks for my higher studies. And then after that, I went and did my BCom, little bit of social service studies and all this, and work, social work. And after which, I came back again to Infant Jesus. And I thought it was going to be a stopgap arrangement because while working in Bombay, I got sick and I was down with jaundice. And I came back home, recovered, went back again to Bombay, worked there for some more time. And finally in 1981, if I remember right, 1981, I came back and joined Infant Jesus. And I was there for about 14 years, till about 1995. And because in 1995, I got an opportunity to go abroad, to go to the US. And so I went to the US and I was there for a few years. So that was my two different stints there. Well, we had a very nice time there from 1981 to 1995, must be around 14 years. And this 14 years, the team, we had a very nice team of teachers. Where there was so much of give and take, fun and laughter, and there was a very exciting time. And it was during the early days of Father Ferdinand Kayawil, I think, there at school as the principal. He was also big fun. In the evenings we used to come and we used to have a volleyball match. We had to either take team sides as either the principal's team or the warden's team. And very often there used to be a bunch of bananas or a bunch of plantains as the winner's trophy. And on a regular basis, anyway, we used to get to have that. Sometimes cakes, sometimes other things. So that was one very interesting thing that used to happen every evening. And during the course of the year, during my work at school, there have been some funny experiences. Like there was one guy, who had to go and there were students who had to go and get their father's permission to join the cross-country race, which we used to have annually before the sports. And invariably the boarders there used to be winning all the good places for sports because they had the opportunity to practice perhaps. Anyway, the boarding was very active and very lively, and we used to always be in and around the boarding helping the students with their studies till the time we got married. I got married only in 87, so for 6 years I was there almost every time in the boarding, and we used to have a lot of fun with the boarders, boarding warden, and it was like a nice big family. And this some of the day scholars, they had to go get the permission of their parents to join this cross-country race because there is a little bit strenuous race, nearly 14 kilometers. And we checked the permissions that were brought in. And once she told them, look here, this doesn't look like your father's signature. No, sir, I was in a hurry, so I just, I couldn't put a perfect signature, and that's what it is. So there were incidents like that. And then there were certain other incidents when, the boys in the 9th standard, sometimes they try to act fresh with the new teachers, especially the young lady teachers. So there was a new lady teacher that came there, and she was given an assignment in the 9th standard. So she wanted to prove that she's efficient, and she came and gave them an assignment, said, write what is your ambition in life. So one smart guy He said, I like to, I will become doctor and I will kiss nurse and make babies.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
so that became a big issue. She went with tears in her eyes to the principal and the principal to get up very seriously. And
Sir,
finally,
sorry to interrupt, but that time that principal was Father Kayan?
yes, Father Kayal.
Father Kayan. Okay.
And Father Kayal was there for a long tenure, so Father Principal suddenly he sort of overreacted on it actually. And he called this boy to the staff room.
Okay.
All the teachers were surrounding him, and he was supposed to call his parents and bring them home or bring them to school the next day. And he was shivering and he was in tears. So it was just a little prank that he played during, it was just something which his age kicked in. Anyway, after a long telling off and little scolding and all this stuff, father was very serious on him bringing his parents the next day. So all the teachers didn't know what to do, and father was in his temper. Then I just said, "Let me hear what you read, what you wrote," and I made him read. And in very in broken English and stammering and shivering, he reread the whole the thing. I will kiss the nurse and I will make the babies. So I told father, this fellow doesn't know English, neither does he know his biology. Yes, correct. You go write your reproductive system, that chapter in biology, 10 times and bring it tomorrow. And that was the end of the whole issue. So he was so relieved. All of us were relieved and all of us were having a hearty laugh. So that was one situation that stands out in my mind, where, the things could be easily diffused because the teachers who used to take things very, very seriously and, and those days, corporal punishment was just nothing. Anybody acts naughty, anybody acts out of the way, just bring the cane and just thrash him. That was the rule. And then we had two experts in the field. That was Mani Master and Master Kunjaria. They are pretty good at calling up these students and giving them this the quota of punishments, like physical punishments. So these are one or two incidents that stand out in my mind like that. And then after this cross-country race, and I was telling you the cross-country race, the first 5-6 places used to be won by the boarders. And afterwards, when they come back into the field and the race ends in the field, they have to run up to Kadapakada College Junction, go around the Ashram Maidan and come back. So some of them complete about 14 kilometers. And we used to keep following them in the ambulance. And when they come back into the field, you can hear the wrenching cries like, boarding chapati ki jay, boarding chapati ki jay. So that was a very exciting moment. And then the next day we used to give them half day off, and we also used to have a lot of fun. And then the next day the sports used to come.
So about those times and all that, how was the sports? Was it more
Sports
active?
were very, very active, and one thing which is very different from these sports conducted these days, there was a lot of involvement from the old boys and old teachers. Okay. It was like it was like a reunion of the old teachers and old students coming in. And most of the sports, the activities, the items used to be conducted by the old boys. They used to always be in charge of something or the other. And then as a crowning part of it, the last item used to be one, relay. One team.
Different houses?
There will be different houses plus one old boys team.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I remember that. Okay.
And invariably the old boys used to take the cup.
Oh my
because
God, yes.
because from different years we used to have very good sportsmen, very good sprinters. And one guy used to stand out was one Master Gilbert Moreira. He was there for some time as a teacher, and then he was really wonderful. So like that, he used to be far ahead of those other guys. So they used to always have a good fun, especially regarding sports.
Okay. And during that time, which was your favorites? The House of Boscos?
No, when I was studying. I told you I was a student there. No.
Okay.
When I was a student, I was in the House of Berkmans.
Oh, Berkmans.
So when I was in the House of Berkmans, naturally my heart used to always go out for the House of Berkmans.
Okay.
So like that, I used to always follow the Berkmans. But they were not too good at sports those days.
Okay.
Those days, the Britos were favorites in sports,
okay.
good in sports. And then I remember
So
this
what about youth festival?
youth festival. Youth festival is a different cup of tea. There the Bergmans used to shine.
Okay.
And there were some places, areas where I too could sort of, coach the students, and I think I would have definitely tried to coach the House of Berkmans better. But there was a very nice impartial judging and things like that, and so invariably not in many years the Berkmans used to come out first in this youth festival competition. While in sports, the Boscos and the Britos used to be much better than the Berkmans. Okay,
The teachers
actually,
as well.
to come to see, there has been a lot of changes in the students, during the years. I mean, not only in Infant Jesus, through students at large, there have been a lot of changes. But one thing that was very, very good, one thing unique about Infant Jesus was, children were really very, very obedient and very cooperative, and they respected the teachers a lot. I remember one instance when I told you I used to spend a lot of time in the boarding, and there in the boarding there used to be guys who were coming from different districts, even outside Kollam. Like there were boys from Kottayam, there were boys from Trivandrum, and once I was trying to brush my shoe and I couldn't find even a polish and things. I was hunting around for a shoe brush. Just then one guy came and just took my shoes away, and he just took it with him, and then he went there, and after some time he brought it nicely polished. So when I checked on him, his father was then a very, very big businessman in Kottayam, having about 400 acres of rubber estate and things like that. But they were so humble and so obedient, and that is one thing which that sort of the respect and veneration that they gave to these teachers is not to be found these days. Of course, and that's everywhere. Or in most of the schools, the problem is the same. We don't have that sort of cooperation and that sort of subservience from the students at present. And those days, even if the students get punished, they take it in the right spirit. And after the punishment, nobody kept it in mind. And after a few 10, 15 minutes, everything used to be fine again. So there was a lot of nice rapport among the students and the teachers. And the students used to be very, very obliging to the teachers. There's no hanky-panky, no sort of thing that teachers are trying to load them or trying to be tough on them. Now I feel that the students have sort of distanced themselves from the teachers. In all probability, it's because there's so much of other influence come from outside. They are sort of more engaged with other things, and like this WhatsApp and Facebook and phones, mobile phones. Really, I don't feel that they have done much good to the students now. Of course, they relate more with the gadget than with the person behind the gadget. So much so that even at home and in school, you see that you notice that they have become very aloof, distance themselves from their parents and the teachers as well. Yeah, really, Tanki was a very, very different place, and Tanki was far ahead of the places around in that westernized culture that they had here. I remember I recently met a classmate of mine. He's a businessman now. He's got a business called Koilan Radios in Main Road.
Okay.
He was telling me how
Vijaykanth sir.
Vijaykanth's brother Ashokan.
Okay.
Ashokan and we are classmates. So he was telling us about he just reminded us about Tangi. And he said the first time he saw anybody kissing on the street was in Tangi.
Oh, okay.
Those days, having a boyfriend and girlfriend and walking along the streets, together was nothing strange and nothing new, or nothing wrong. So the people sort of acknowledged it, and And most of the houses in Tangi there were not as many houses. The houses in Tangi were owned by Anglo-Indians. So there was that Anglo-Indian culture and, dressing stylishly, Western style of dressing, sleeveless dresses, short skirts, mini skirts. Those good old days, I'm talking about 1956, 57, 58, 60s. They were far, far ahead. They had that English music, English choir. Then there was some sort of pants called the drain pipes.
Drain pipes.
Drain pipes. It was called drain pipes because it was so. And only after that the bell bottoms came. Drain pipes are very thin because it looked like small cylindrical pipes, and there's a big difficulty getting them on. It was really a big problem. And here there was a guy, the thinner the drain pipes and the closer it was stuck to your body, the bigger thing. It was almost like these leggings that these girls wear these days, it's almost like that, but it's stitched, tailored. So those are called these drain pipes. And those pointed toe shoes. This is a style those days. So those days, Tangi actually was set apart from the crowd. Then of course the westernization got round to all the places around Tangi and around Kollam and other places. So then naturally these things were sort of looked down upon, and so we had to there was sort of free and very relaxed outlook in Tangi. In the evenings, you used to find the guys carrying the guitar, singing songs, and going around the streets in Tangi. And everybody was welcome to every house. We could just walk into any house and walk out of any house just like that. You needn't have to have the permission or the invitation to go in there. So it was like that one big large family. In Tangi there was a culture where every month, once or twice in a month, there used to be a ballroom dancing. People got together. There was some club here known as the East West Club, and every month there will be some occasion where there is a dance, except for the month of Lent. Lent is the month, prior to the Christians, the Catholics have got the Lenten season, that is before Easter, before Good Friday and all. That 1 month of 40 days, there won't be any sort of celebration and dancing. But other than that, every month there used to be Mayflower, June Rose, Spring Fest, then October, then May Queen. Then there used to be the December, used to have complete welcoming, the Christmas dance used to be there, New Year dance used to be there. There were so many occasions when there used to be this ballroom dancing. So that cultural wearing the suit and the thing was just, and the tie, it was just an ordinary thing in Tangisheri, which is not seen very often these days. So like that, we had a very much more Western orientation in those days. And there was never a time when children were found speaking any language other than English, especially in school. So much so, the standard of English was very, very high. Very high, and the teachers then, we had some exceptionally very good teachers. The Miss Camoins, that's my auntie who was a headmistress in the school itself. Then there was Mrs. Sheila Dikoto. There was Mrs. Mary Fernandez. Then there was Miss Flory. And all these people were very, very particular in the way we spoke and where we wrote English. And they used to help us, develop our language and language skills. And they used to really hone our language skills. So much so, there was a whole host of children who could debate, speak, and, so for elocution competition and debates, always ask schools to go the first. Those days there was hardly any other school to compete with. All these other English medium schools came much later, except of course Mount Carmel was there many years before us. But Infant Jesus had a really good culture of their own. And another thing that Infant Jesus was very good for is their hockey team. Their hockey team was very excellent. I don't think many other schools played hockey, but most of them used to get selection into the state team very easily. And very often, for many years, at least 6 or 7 of the state players used to be students who had studied earlier in Infant Jesus. So that was the way the things went on in the sports field. And always, invariably, Infant Jesus was the champions for the inter-school sports. The school sports was never, I don't know, I think for the every year they banked the inter-school sports prize. So much so they used to envy us, and they tried even using them legal, bringing some framing some new laws and regulations, rules and regulations to try to put Infant Jesus out of the Kerala State School in the school meet. But then, of course, Father Kayal wouldn't let go. We went to the High Court and fought it, and we got a place back into the sports. So we had to be included in the sports. We have a judgment favoring us. And that is Infant Jesus. That Infant Jesus should be included in the state inter-school sports. So that was the very good golden days of Infant Jesus. Even now they do pretty well at sports and games and all that. But that togetherness seems to be lacking. There are a lot of unnecessary politics and things like that, which could be avoided. Of course, even now there are very dedicated teachers, when you compare them with the other teachers of the other schools, definitely Infant Jesus has a good bunch of teachers. And there was always a tradition in Infant Jesus, and it has come back also now, because teachers never bothered about how much they are getting. In comparison to government schools and things like that, teachers are paid very, very, very much less. But teachers of Infant Jesus, and of course Mount Carmel also, I think, they dress far, far better than teachers going to these government schools and other aided schools. And they work a lot more extra even if they have to stay late back and come very early to school and all this stuff. They don't much bother about it, and they put their whole heart and soul into it. Very, very dedicated. That is one thing very, very extraordinary. So much so, there was a time when after a function, the bishop, who was a chief guest for the meeting, he sort of remarked, "See, I've never seen people, employees, teachers anywhere, this dedicated." Because the previous night when he came at around 11 o'clock also, there were teachers doing, even teachers carrying the benches and desks and rearranging them and doing all those things, along with some senior students. So those type of things were very, very edifying. I think they still do it. I don't know how far it is, because I don't go very often these days to the Infant Jesus school. But they seem to be, they have good results. They have good results in sports and things like that. Result-wise, they seem to be okay. But I think that togetherness and that warmth and that thing doesn't seem to be there. I hope it comes back. It's far better than most schools that you find all around. See, even when you compare to Trinity Lyceum and other schools, even under the management, one thing that stands out is the teacher-student relationship has been very unique, and that tradition has been going on. And the students have been very, very obliging to the management and to the teachers, unlike the students of other schools. So that was one thing very unique about Infant Jesus. See, the life nowadays, like I already mentioned, things are, the contact between people are becoming less and less. People get, are very, very much aloof and are becoming loners. And at this age of yours, around 34, 35 years, is the peak age where you'll have to perform at your very best. See, there may be another 15 years of very, very productive work, and in another 5 years, you will be peaking up into your careers. You may be reaching your career's highest level. And in those days, it also very much matters that you relate well with especially your immediate family, that is your wife and your children. You should reserve some time, quality time for the family. And everywhere where there is quality time reserved to be spent in the family, that family has been very successful. Now, before they used to focus on IQ. The greater the IQ, the better the students used to be. That is what they thought. But now the stress has come about another factor which is called EQ, emotional quotient. And this emotional quotient is very, very, very important for the all-round success of the individual. It is not only how much money we make or how high up in the ladder we rise. It's also what matters very much is the contentment that we have. And the contentment will come about only if we have this, sharing, togetherness, communication. Well, especially to start within the family, and then of course it should be spread. Now, of course, there are a lot of gadgets and lot of means and lot of what you call softwares to sort of keep relating to people, but there is, dearth of real human relationships. Now they are desperately trying to get it back, start social organizations and start activities which sort of help others. Now the stress is coming back into that, and now with that, we should sort of think that along with the enhancement of our career goals, we should always keep some time aside, reserve some time that should be spent for useful, productive social work, and also for work and not work, to spend within the immediate family. And only then we will be actually content. And contentment is the greatest gift that a person can have in life. Because if you're not happy and if you're not content, there's no point in having acquired so many degrees or scale up the, the ladder professionally. All you need is what you need is to be really content and happy with yourself and with the others.
Thank you, sir. Thanks so much.